Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to a brand new edition of the NoDQ Review, number 296. We're getting ever so close to episode 300. I'm the moderator, Virtue, here in my car, in my driveway, because we had a huge storm and it knocked the power out, but it doesn't stop the NoDQ Review. It doesn't stop the moderator. I am here with this week's elite panel, of course, Big G, happy to be here. Walter Cruz. Son is back, usually comes on after major pay-per-views, and of course, Aaron Rift. What's going on, everybody? Son, what's up? Do your introduction.
Hey everybody, Son Joshua Crew here. WWE is cooking, and yes, I got the one up because I know we're talking a lot of Roman Reigns today. So I'm excited to talk with you gentlemen. It's been too long.
Yeah, we might talk a little bit about Roman Reigns today. I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure we will. Walter, what's going on?
I'm doing good. Doing well. Good to be back and good to see everybody. Yeah, I'm ready to jump into it. It's going to be a hell of a review after SummerSlam and everything that's going on.
We got an hour to kill here, and it should still be daylight for a while. I don't think I'll have to turn my car on, but we will see. Big G, what's going on?
I'm doing pretty well. It's stormy out here, too, up in Pennsylvania. Got thunderstorms, but other than that, we had a decent, good SummerSlam, so let's get this ball rolling, baby.
The difference with me and Mo Camera is I'm not like door dashing or whatever he does, Ubering, whatever he does. I'm just sitting in my car because this is where I have power and light right now. But Big G, I know you're happy to be here. Stay tuned. We'll be back to you. Aaron, what's going on?
I'm doing pretty good. Luckily, the power is still working here, and there's no shame in recording in your car. One time I had to do a video in my car, and that was when Roman Reigns got suspended. Do you guys remember that in 2016? I was in the middle of buying a car. I was at the dealership, and I get a text that Roman Reigns was suspended, and I actually had to stop what I was doing. I was in the middle of signing the paperwork, and I had to go and record a video. If you watch it on the YouTube channel, search Roman Reigns suspended on the NoDQ channel. You'll see the video. I'm in the car. I was in the process of buying a car. No shame in it if you have to record in your car. You go with what you have available. That's what Virtue's doing. He looks and sounds great. Big SummerSlam that we just had this weekend. Lots of news to discuss coming out of the show. The rest of 2024 is shaping up to be very memorable in the world of WWE, and I think 2025 could potentially be WWE's biggest year of all time. Looking forward to getting everyone's thoughts on the storylines as we move into the fall. Virtue, let's go ahead and get it started.
So the first topic, now we're going to, even though Roman Reigns did return at SummerSlam, that's going to be our main event. So let's talk about everything else with the SummerSlam Fallout. So we've had several new champions crowned. Bron Breakker won the Intercontinental title against Sami Zayn. LA Knight beat Logan Paul in what I thought was a really damn good match. Gunther won the title from Damian Priest. Of course, the Finn Balor turn there. Nia Jax won. What championship is that? The WWE Women's Championship. So she won that from Bayley. And, of course, the whole match with Punk and McIntyre. Now, McIntyre did beat him. We saw that bracelet exchange a few times. But let's just go around and give our thoughts, the good and the bad of everything. And even the Cody solo match. Just hold on your Roman Reigns thoughts until the main event. So, Son, I'm going to start with you since you're not on all the time. I know you do a SummerSlam review, so you can tell people at the end of the show to go check that out. But rehash, if you will, in front of the NoDQ review audience, have at it. I thought it was a pretty good, damn good SummerSlam. And I don't know if it's one of my, some people were upset a little bit, like predictable and this and that. And, of course, you had your AEW cult. There wasn't much wrestling in that show. Look, the storylines and angles in this show, I loved it. That took me back to old pay-per-views when, you build on TV for months with the angles to have matches, right? We get that. But I like when a pay-per-view continues or changes angles. And SummerSlam, to me, for that very reason, even if it was a little predictable, was pretty good. Pretty damn good. So we'll go ahead, Son. Give us your take on SummerSlam.
Yeah, just to condense my thoughts, man, I thought SummerSlam from top to bottom was phenomenal. And you all who have heard my opinions, whether it be on my channel or here on NoDQ, I am big on storytelling, and that is what I loved so much, is that every single match had something to advance the story, and not just the story of like closing something, but also progressing to where we're gonna go in September. Because we've known all those years in the WWE where there felt like there was those times it's the fall, let's just drag our feet until we get to the Rumble. I love that Triple H is cooking up stuff, man. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, love the excellent storytelling, and I love how they implemented Finn Balor and Damian Priest 1 year into that story. Phenomenal. One of the things that I said is I feel that the Judgment Day served its purpose in terms of bringing Rhea and Damian and having to go ahead to develop their characters. And now that they are over as babyfaces, I think it's time for them to definitely move on, because they have what it takes to be sole stars. So I thought that was phenomenal. I actually like the Nia Jax and Bayley match. Some people I know weren't really feeling the match, but I thought so far what we got out of it was pretty cool. And it told a story. Phenomenal job to Nia Jax, because I think she has come a long way since where she was before. In fact, I thought that Bayley and Nia Jax match was better here than the one they had in London almost 15, no, not 15, about 10 years ago. Hasn't been that long, but yeah, that was phenomenal. I love the Logan Paul and LA Knight, and as I mentioned, I don't follow Logan Paul that much outside, but when he gets into that WWE ring, man, he's phenomenal. I can't tell you how many times I replayed that spot of him jumping up to the top rope and doing the moonsault onto LA Knight, and finally LA Knight wins. Much props to him for staying over a year process when I don't think WWE gave him much to do after he lost to Roman. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre was probably my favorite match. That was a storytelling masterclass, and it made sense for both Rhea and CM Punk to lose, I feel, so that way you can progress to them getting their revenge maybe later in Hell in a Cell. And the main event, I did like it. I thought the match was okay, but I didn't think it was as good as the Roman and the Roman and Cody matches. I think Roman and Cody just have a much better chemistry, but I'll save my whole thoughts as far as getting all hyped up about the ending, since we're gonna have that as the main event. Overall, yeah, this SummerSlam did a good job. I know some might feel that it was predictable, but I think whether it's a swerve, whether it's predictable, if it makes sense for the story, then that's all that really truly matters. So overall, man, fantastic SummerSlam, like I said, from start to finish. And on my channel, I'll have more in-depth thoughts, but that's my condensed version.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Virtue?
Yeah, I was like, somebody freeze there's a lot of awkward silence.
I was like, he's either doing a great job of standing still there or sitting still, or we lost him. Well, I guess his car connection didn't work out so well. Hopefully we get him back. All right, so I guess I'll play the role of Virtue right now. You're all a bunch of marks. No. Seriously, though. Walter, we'll throw it over to you. Sun made some great points about SummerSlam. Do you agree with what he said, or do you have a different opinion on some of the events of the show? What were your overall thoughts on SummerSlam? What did you like? What did you not like?
It was. I agree with him. It was very good. I could get what some people say. In terms of good and bad, the only really thing I can say maybe is bad, but it wasn't too bad to me because it gave Jelly Roll, he lived his dream, was maybe the little segment with Awesome Truth and A-Town Down Under. But you can't just go match after match, hardcore, hard thing after hard thing, thorough thing after thorough thing, and then you got to throw some comedy in there. So you got to throw a little filler in that to give people time to settle down, go to the bathroom. So to me, it fit in there, but maybe that could be the only thing I can say is a little bad. But from top to bottom of the actual pay-per-view, there's really nothing to complain about. It was very well executed, and it's even though people are complaining that it's predictable, you really don't know what's going to happen until it's happened. We knew, most people were Dom's going to do it at some time, but I feel the way Dom did it was very well. It's he went double heel. He doubled down on being a heel. He was a heel already and then went heel again because he was almost cheered because he was associated with Rhea when he was coming out. So it was like people were like not really booing him, and he's not used to that. Then the way he manipulated to slide the chair for Rhea, we all knew it was coming. And then you got the kiss at the end, so he like really leaned to it. And I like how they made it even seem like even Liv didn't know about it. Like Liv face like actually looked shocked when Dom went in for the kiss. Like she got happy after it, but she actually looked shocked. So I think that was well done. My favorite match, I mean, I know he said the CM Punk was his favorite match. Mine was Gunther. Like the fact that he did that, even though it was because of Finn Balor, the fact that he's the champion and what he came from and what he is and how people were like, and he got in shape and everybody was like telling him, you're too big for that. And he took it serious. He got in shape and now look where he is. He took the Intercontinental title from here to here. Now imagine what he's going to do with this title now. And we already saw, spoiler alert, I'll give you a second to skip it if you didn't see Raw. But Randy Orton is his first opponent already. And the fact that he's going to go after main eventer after main eventer after main eventer now from what he did in SummerSlam is going to be awesome. So, like, I really had no problem. And Nia, I've always been behind Nia. I've been the one arguing for Nia for on here on this channel, on every channel. I've always been behind Nia. I was the one always ridiculed for being Nia. So I'm happy for her. And she got a little emotional, hugged her mom, and The Rock's mom is there. So we still got bloodline teases with that because of everything that happened. Of course, what happened at the end with Cody, we got to talk about later, but it was awesome. Like, there's really nothing I can really complain about. Like I said, maybe the whole little filler thing with Awesome Truth and A-Town Down Under, but even that for me was fine because you need to fill time to let people go to the bathroom and things. Like, people that complain about that stuff don't know how to run a company. It's ran that way on purpose. They don't want you to do that, go in the bathroom in the middle of their best matches. So they do that little segment like that. They understand people got to go to the bathroom to get snacks and concession stands, and they know how to make money. So they do that to let you go in, to let you do that. So for me, SummerSlam was awesome to me. It's like, had to be at least the best SummerSlam in at least the last like 5 years at least.
Now, Walter, what's more memorable to you? A show with a bunch of matches that are raved by the critics, right? I'm not going to mention who and what their rating system is, versus an event like SummerSlam Saturday, where you had some really good matches, but it was more storytelling. And I'm not talking about storytelling in the ring when you take 100 moves and you kick out. I prefer what we got at SummerSlam versus your all-in type pay-per-views where every match has to be 5 stars or more. Like, what I'm just asking, what do you prefer a show to be? What do you feel more satisfied afterwards? What style of a pay-per-view?
The ones with the storylines and the thing like WWE did, because it makes you want to tune in again and say what's next. Sometimes the other pay-per-views is that you're like, okay, that was that, but I got nothing to turn into next week or nothing to look forward to. This continued stories that you were like, holy hell, I cannot wait for Monday. Like, when Saturday was over, I was like, damn, I can't wait for Raw.
And we can't wait for Friday for who and Tulsa. We'll be talking about him, like Roman Reigns. All right, Big G, over to you. Go ahead. And if, by the way, if I crap out anytime, I'll do my best to come back. Again, I'm on a mobile phone right now, but I'm doing my best. Go ahead, Big G. Your thoughts.
Yeah, overall, I thought it was very well put together from top to bottom. I enjoyed every match. The storytelling was good. Aaron, I think I got every single match, including the bonus points, right for predictions.
Yep.
I called Dom and Liv kissing at SummerSlam. No, but other than that, like, joking aside, I'm happy that Gunther won. You know, Walter mentioned it earlier. He elevated the IC title. He was the longest IC title holder in history. That he was NXT UK champion for over 800 days. So Triple H sees something in Gunther, and I can see another lengthy reign with Gunther. Not as long as Roman had it with the Universal title or WWE title at 1,316 days, but I can see Gunther well over 500 days as the World Heavyweight Champion. Nia winning, I'm happy for Nia. It was kind of her redemption story in a way after coming back after she had left the company. Braun winning, that was nice. You know, Sammy held the title for a good while. I want to see what Braun can bring to the table with the IC title. What else? Jelly Roll being there and Awesome Truth segment, that was pretty funny. It was hilarious. I thought I like my comedy, even if it's stupid comedy, I will still laugh. Yeah, and as far as Cody and Solo's match goes, like Son said earlier, I felt like there really wasn't much chemistry between the two. But we'll talk more about Roman later in the main event. But all in all, I was very satisfied. And Virtue, to answer what you had asked Walter, I also like something. I like the PLEs or pay-per-views that are more memorable that I'll remember. Besides, you know, like not like AEW where we got like 17 matches. They're like, all right, on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one.
Now I'm going to ask you another question, and
Yes.
you can chime in too, Son and Walter, unless you said this when I was cut off. What did you think of CM Punk's performance? I know.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about CM Punk.
Hey, no injury. We didn't get any report of any injury with him or any.
So yeah, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, I thought was really the match of the night. It really told a story. You know, they involved Seth in there. They involved the CM Punk's bracelet. You know, and I feel like at Bash in Berlin, now with Seth being out, maybe after what happened yesterday on Raw, I'm sure we'll get a rematch between McIntyre and Punk at Bad Blood. But that, that match from start to finish, I was just like, I could not keep my eyes off the TV. That's how good it was.
And then for me, when it came to CM Punk's performance, I thought that they were very careful. You could tell he was very careful with the way he took his bumps to make sure that they weren't doing anything. And I think Drew, I don't even think they did the future shock DDT in that match. They were very careful. I thought safe. Drew worked it safe. CM Punk worked it very safe. And I had mentioned also in my review that, did you guys notice that when they were outside, they were doing very basic stuff, and the fans were chanting, "This is awesome, this is awesome." And I said, that's a testament to show you the power of character work and story work, because when you got two guys that have been as over as they are with this story, you don't have to do much. And I said this too in my review, I don't have anything against the people who do a lot more fancier things in the ring, as I think pro wrestling, the art form itself, opens up to a lot of variety of styles. But I do think there is something to be said when you got those two guys who did this very basic storyline, and look how much they were over. Like I said, it was my favorite match, and I don't think from an in-ring it was anything spectacular. It was just simple story, but it sucked me into the story, and that's what I loved about that performance. And I think that's great. If Punk can work safe and still continue on and put those injuries behind him, I think we're going to get a lot of great memorable battles to come.
And look, I heard, people say they love the Punk and McIntyre match the best.
Yeah.
Aaron said he liked Priest and Gunther the best. I kind of like the Logan Paul LA Knight match the best. And Logan Paul's the real deal. If he has any, and he gets my.
Oh, dang, I really wanted to hear what he had to say.
Me too.
Yeah. Sami Zayn just got involved and disconnected.
Virtue was cooking there. I wanted to know.
Yeah, right. That flip though. That flip that Logan did was crazy.
Aaron, before we get to you real quick, Son and Walter, what did you guys think about the camera on the ref during some of the matches?
I thought it was a cool new concept in theory, but it wasn't executed well.
Yeah, I mean, it's good they tried new things, but it's like, it's like when you're running with your phone camera everywhere and it's all motion and everywhere. Yeah. Like I've had videos where I've recorded something at the WWE events, and then some big entrance, like when Matt and Jeff came back at WrestleMania 33, I was like, oh, and I look back on the footage like, oh, that's ugly looking footage.
Yeah, but it proves that the refs can see certain things like interference and stuff. Is like you saw it. It's obviously on that camera.
I'll say this: what I thought would be really hilarious if they do a ref's point of view where they're arguing with somebody and the referee turns, and we see that clearly. You can see someone's got a chair shot hitting someone, and the referee quickly turns the camera back, and it's like, well, the referee couldn't see it. We all saw it, so we know he saw it. I would have loved for something like that to happen.
Okay.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the ref cam. I like that they're doing it. I hope they keep doing it on these major shows. They don't need to do it like every episode of Raw, but maybe for a premium live event, busting out the ref cam might be a fun little thing to do. So yeah, I will add on to what Virtue said. I think Logan Paul and LA Knight had a great match. To me, that was one of the highlights of SummerSlam. Well, we do have some super chats here. I'll get to those. First of all, Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, is this the best SummerSlam in the last 10 years? So you know what? I think we should go around, and I know one of you, I'm not sure if it was you, Walter, said you thought it was the best one in 5 years, but what about 10 years? I'll go first. I really liked this SummerSlam a lot. I did enjoy the 2022 SummerSlam with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, the forklift, and Damage Control being formed. There were some fun moments on that show. 2013 is one of my all-time favorite SummerSlams, Brock Lesnar and CM Punk. This one, I think, might be at that level. I definitely think this was a top 10 SummerSlam. If I had to do top 10 SummerSlams, I think this one would fit in there. Last 10 years, I would say yes. Best SummerSlam in a very long time. Son, I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, that 2022 SummerSlam was excellent, and I would try to remember if I can remember everything else. I would probably say, just going off the top of my head, yeah, probably the best SummerSlam in 10 years, because one of the things I kept coming back to was that I enjoy it thoroughly from beginning to end. Some matches were good, others were great, but nothing was bad on the show. And looking at that, that's the thing. When I go back to some of the SummerSlams of the past, there's always been like, okay, well, these two matches were good, or this was good, but then this kind of fell short of glory. But here, it's consistent. Everything on the show from top to bottom pretty much made sense. So yeah, I mean, when that show can leave you satisfied from beginning to end, it probably is the best in 10 years.
I saw some comments on social media that it was the most consistent SummerSlam, and I think that's very true. Like from start to finish, it was a consistently entertaining SummerSlam. Big G, would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm trying to go back to remember like past SummerSlams in the past 10 years. I mean, yeah, in 2019, you know, you had the Fiend debut, but like other than that, I don't remember anything memorable from that. But like from this match, I felt like everything was consistent. It was a smooth transition from match to match to match to match.
And Walter, 10 years?
Yeah, I agree. I agree because I mean, if you think about it, like you can pick out certain memorable moments from each SummerSlam. Like I know 10 years ago, 2014, that was what the Brock Lesnar John Cena thing, where you just suplexed the hell out of John Cena. So like that's what you can remember, but you really can't remember everything else. Then you got the one where they screwed over Daniel Bryan and out of the title for RK Randy Orton cashed in. So it's like you pick moments, but not the whole pay-per-view known as then PLE now, whatever. But I think consistency is a good word, because this was from beginning to end. It just kept you captivated the whole way. So it might be a little bit of recency bias, because I really got to go back and think to remember the last 10 years. But I think it's definitely got to be up there.
And Virtue.
And before I got cut off, basically what I was getting to is I really enjoyed watching Logan Paul and LA Knight. Logan Paul's the real deal, like, to me. And for he gets real heat. My buddy who was actually there, he's like, man, he gets legit heat. He's like, it doesn't feel fake. It doesn't feel like the fans are playing along. It's good, solid, classic heel heat. Yeah. Maybe because he's a douchey prick, but so that sticks out. He's incredible. Logan Paul's rising up my rankings.
All right. And Virtue, where would you put this year's SummerSlam compared to some of the other ones? Like, is it the best one in 10 years, in your opinion?
Probably. I mean, I think it's definitely a top 5, and that's impressive. But I can't say I would rank it like top 1, 2, or 3 until I go back and evaluate. You know how you have to rewatch things sometimes and see how things aged. But it's top 5. I mean, it was good. It just the moments, they created moments. They literally created moments throughout the show, not just Roman coming back at the end.
Yeah.
Right. Psycho Jet Black sent in this $2 super chat. Big G, your thoughts on Randy Orton calling Gunther German?
And you know what? They're right next to each other. They speak German over in Austria too. So no big deal. If it didn't offend Gunther, then it doesn't offend me.
Well, there you have it. And Mr. Anderson sent in a $5 super chat, said, why are we getting a SmackDown superstar versus Gunther at Bash in Berlin? Does Raw not have the talent to have someone face Gunther at the Bash PLE? Walter?
Because of the controversial finish of the King of the Ring. Shoulders clearly weren't down, and they didn't forget about that. People complain that they want long-term storytelling, and then look, this happens, and then immediately somebody complained, but he's on SmackDown. It's still long-term storytelling. They didn't forget about it, and they knew to do this. I feel like he's trying to build a legacy. His first opponent is a legend killer. That's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, son.
Yeah, so I definitely will say I do appreciate them bringing up the footage of Triple H said he's going to make sure he takes care of it, so they at least explain why Randy Orton was there. But yeah, when that's the thing, going back to and I think you all heard my take on it when they were talking about the draft, is in order to get this draft to be taken serious, they have to abide by the rules of Raw and SmackDown. So when you're seeing SmackDown stars coming over to Raw and Raw coming over to SmackDown, it once again further diminishes the whole idea of the brand split. So I can totally understand why people are taking issue with that. But once again, at least this one was explained in terms of Triple H. Somebody else, though, from SmackDown came over to Raw. Who was it last night? I forgot.
It was A-Town Down Under, but that's because...
Okay, now why were they there?
Because of SummerSlam. Think about it. SummerSlam, the interaction between Awesome Truth and A-Town Down Under, and then Nick... I mean, it's just like in football or any other sport. You can make trades or make deals. So that's what they were doing with Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. They're making deals between the two brands. So I'm sure.
Is that what they said? Because in that case,
yeah.
I must have missed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it was said, then all right. At least they're explaining it, because
they're explaining it why.
Back in the day, they was just having these people float back and forth with no explanation, and then Survivor Series come the only time of the year.
It's just like even with Priest, you would think that the world title meant everything to him, and he would immediately want a rematch. That it's more about the being traded. What's the word I'm looking for? Finn Balor stabbing him in the back. Yeah, no, it wasn't traded, but I think about the word
on loan.
I smoke a lot of weed, people. It's on loan. Yeah. So. The fact that it's more important to get revenge back on Priest on Balor than the title, it actually made sense to like how they did it. So they're explaining the things the right way right now.
Which I do appreciate. I'm glad that we are getting better explanations for things for continuity reasons in WWE. I'm glad we're saying that. Did you guys notice this too during the Priest and Gunther match? I love the production change and how they show the replay, and you actually see Gunther looking up at the Titantron and turned over to see that Finn had screwed him. I thought that was a really nice production touch.
Yeah. Last thing I wanted to say before we move on, I did want to address CM Punk and Drew McIntyre's match, because I've seen comments where people called the match horrible. Now, wrestling is subjective. People have different opinions, but I was fully engaged with that match from start to finish. I will remember that match 5 years from now. I will not remember a lot of these matches that the people that criticize CM Punk love, because they're all the same. They all blend together. This match stood out to me. It was very entertaining for what it was, and I think the people that are calling it horrible.
And Aaron, if I can, before the internet or my phone cell cuts me off, stop being desensitized, you stupid marks. Seriously, remember when great matches were a treat and not every single match, and you needed every match to be this Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, whatever you call it? That is BS. And SummerSlam proved you don't need that every event. And these people criticizing Punk and McIntyre because and Punk coming back from an injury where he's going to be protected. So those haters, eat my shorts.
And not only that, they're not thinking the big picture. That was what I was trying to say here. My point of all this is that this was the first match. They're going to have a rematch. People are like, oh, SummerSlam didn't have the blood match. This was a bitter rivalry and Seth Rollins was involved and, it wasn't what it was supposed to be. They're not going to have the first match be the bloodbath. There's something coming up called Bad Blood. Son?
Yeah, just to add on here, because like I said, I thought it was a storytelling masterpiece. You're right. You want to save the more bigger bloody battle for Hell in a Cell. What was the guy who had asked CM Punk one time, said, it needs to be Hell in a Cell right away. And he's like, brother, I'm glad you are not booking this. He said, Hell in a Cell on the first match? And the thing is, too, I love, once again, just talking about consistency and storyline. I like that they actually threw Seth Rollins in there because Punk and Drew were unhinged, wanting to rip each other apart. But once they both saw Seth Rollins enter the story as a referee, you saw both of them, before that, on the couple of Raws before, you saw both of them settle down because now they got something else to worry about. And putting Seth Rollins in there, I feel, makes the story logically tell you, okay, these guys are going to be careful to not get disqualified because they don't know what Seth will or will not allow. And so that worked very good in the psychology. Now when we get to Hell in a Cell, they can go ahead and rip each other apart into a bloody feud. So once again, I love that so many attention to details are being taken care of in the story. I stand by what I say on there. A storytelling masterpiece.
Yes, Walter.
Yeah, I was going to agree with Son. They're doing everything right. Even look what they did last night. They're even intelligently keeping Seth from it. They did an injury angle with Bronson Reed so that Seth can stay away from these two so they can finish it. Then it becomes the three of them again. They just know how to get more matches out of the three of them. They're doing everything perfect. There's really not much people can complain about, but people just find a way.
Right. It was the first match. You don't want to blow your load in the very first match. You want to save something for the grand finale. It was the first match. They wanted to have Drew McIntyre win because McIntyre had lost. He got screwed multiple times by Punk. McIntyre needed to win, but you also wanted to protect Punk. And by having Rollins in there, you protected Punk in his loss. And also, you set up a potential match with CM Punk and Seth Rollins down the line. Obviously, Rollins is going to feud with Bronson Reed for the time being. Punk can finish his feud with McIntyre. Save the big showdown one-on-one for Bad Blood, the blow-off match of the feud. You don't have to do everything in the first match. So I think the people that have criticized the match are wrong, with all due respect. And I thought CM Punk looked fine out there. For a guy who's in his mid-40s, coming off of an injury that put him out for 5 months, an injury that should have put him out longer, I think he did fine. And sometimes you don't have to be the most spectacular wrestler. Hulk Hogan and The Rock was one of my all-time favorite matches, and Hogan was way past his physical prime at that point, and it was still very entertaining. It's the personalities that sell, not the moves. So there you have it. I give that match a big thumbs up. I thought it was very entertaining. And interestingly enough, on the NoDQ.com poll, it's like neck and neck. I put up the poll, best match of SummerSlam. It's neck and neck with Gunther and Damian Priest. So yeah, not sure what those people were thinking with that comment, but maybe they just have a personal dislike of CM Punk for whatever reason. But I don't think the criticism of that match is valid, in my opinion. But again, wrestling's subjective, and if you didn't like it, then you got other options out there. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says haters should be told, quote, don't have a cow, man. That's what Bart Simpson used to say back in the day.
Remember, I said eat my shorts. And look, Aaron, like people that love that wrestling stuff, that AEW New Japan style, great. All 600,000 and 700,000 of them can enjoy that together.
You know what? You know how it was a really good show? That Noah Foster enjoyed the whole entire show from top to bottom and even acknowledged the Tribal Chief.
Yeah. Well, when Gunther wins the title, Noah Foster is going to be a happy camper. I remember SummerSlam in Detroit. He was marking out quite a bit for the ring general. But Big G, you mentioned Roman Virtue. I guess that's our transition, although I think Son has one more thing he's got to add.
Just one more thing to add too. Since there's been a lot of talk about Gunther and Damian Priest, I'm so glad that they gave both those men the platform to have a big match at a Big Four show, because this is showing progression. A first-time world champion taking on a first-time contender, because so many times in WWE beforehand, it just felt like for years, mostly like when it was like a lot of Vince McMahon, they would have, you know, the big star come in there, take the spot and everything, and it's like, unless you give these new stars this type of opportunity, you can't build towards them for the future. So I am so glad that Triple H put both those guys to go ahead and show what they're capable of, because doing more things like this with newer talent, I feel, is going to be very healthy for the future building superstars for WWE.
Well said. I just wanted to say there was a comment here. I expected more from a 4-month feud build. I wanted more. You're going to get more. You got to be patient. That's all I got to say on that. All right, Virtue, let's move on to the Roman Reigns discussion.
Roman Reigns is back. So basically, you know, the Solo and Cody match was a slow burn, so they could bring all the parties involved with the new Bloodline, and then the allies at Cody, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. They all came out, did their thing. I loved Jacob Fatu coming out and then doing his thing, and then the injury angle. And it wasn't like that was just so he didn't have to confront Roman. I know some people were concerned that he really got hurt. I wasn't, you know, I knew what was happening. And then Roman came out, the Bloodline or his baby face music. I want to say, did they play that at a WrestleMania before?
Yeah,
I don't know.
WrestleMania.
Yep, that's his WrestleMania 40 theme.
But he came out, dude, he had the timing right, the facial features, dude, he is a megastar. I know people knock him for being part-time and doing this, but dude, he is so entertaining, and he set the table for so many things going forward. Him versus Solo, potential rematch with him and Cody at some point maybe, and you know The Rock is lurking, and it's a pure superstar. They needed him, they got him back. Roman will be on SmackDown Friday, and that's why we got to talk about him now, because he is the original tribal chief. Big G, I'm going to start with you. He just gets it. He doesn't have to overdo things. I know people say it's simplistic moves, Superman punch, spear, but I'm telling you, he came out and got that pop. They're all doing the ooh-ah, which they always kind of did anyway.
Yeah.
And 10 years plus in the making with Roman Reigns, and the fans overall have accepted him as that top baby face. I know Cody's still up there too. But Vince McMahon's vision, that's right, Josh Mansfield. Vince McMahon's vision of Roman Reigns being the pure face of the company, leading WWE into the future, has come to fruition. Big G, thoughts?
So Roman Reigns coming back. Like when I heard his entrance, I was like, that reminded me of they redid his entrance with his WrestleMania Night 2 entrance. So I was like, all right, they're switching it up a little bit, which I liked. You know, like you said, Virtue, he came out, his facial expression, I was like, all right, this man is on a mission. He knows what he needs to do. I'm digging that OTC shirt. I'm gonna have to add that to my Bloodline shirt collection down the line. But yeah, they're set. We talked about it. It looks like they're setting up for this Bloodline Civil War for War Games at Survivor Series. We don't know who's going to be on Team Roman Reigns as of now, which is nice because they can like slow burn it up until November. You know, we kind of figured Jimmy might be coming back potentially soon. You know, Solo might be adding Hikuleo soon to the Bloodline 2.0. You know, we saw a couple months ago Jay and Paul Heyman passing by, and Paul kind of gave him that look, kind of like, hey, you know, we need you. Can you help us? But didn't like say anything, but you could tell in Paul's eyes. You know, could we potentially see Sami Zayn coming back in the fold with this Bloodline? You know, will Roman add another member so it'll be 5-on-5 at Survivor Series? You know, I'm excited. Like I mentioned in the chat the other day, yesterday and Friday will be must see, just to the fact of what happened with the Judgment Day and all that went down, and then Roman Reigns coming back on SmackDown. And I hope Paul Heyman comes back on SmackDown, because you know he's gonna get that big pop too. And then once he says his little shtick, his little spiel, Roman's music hits, that pop is gonna be, that roof is gonna be blown off. Let's just say that, you know. But I'm happy Roman's back. You know, Virtue, you've been a Roman fan pretty much since 2014, and you've always betted on Roman Reigns. And, you know, I was not always.
No, listen, Big G. At times, I wasn't 100% confident way back then, but the night after he beat Undertaker,
right,
that solidified my journey.
Right.
Of being the biggest Roman Reign mark I possibly could, and it was around the time I could start contributing to NoDQ. It just worked out perfect.
It worked out, yeah. And like it takes time to build a top star, top baby face. You know, they tried doing it at the Royal Rumble, but he got booed in Philly, so he wasn't like, they were trying to force him down our throats. But then he had this very great heel turn when he came back in 2020. And, you know, 4 months later here after WrestleMania, like you said, besides Cody, he's going to be the top babyface in the company. Yeah. I hope he doesn't. I mean, I don't know if he's still going to be part-time or if he's going to come back like full-time and work on this Bloodline Civil War thing. So,
I mean, we don't have to see him every week, but like, there's weeks you just know he's needed, and I hope he does do that for the dates. Obviously, if he does get to him and Rock next year, we're going to see him a lot WrestleMania season. But Walter, I'm going to go over to you now and thoughts here on the original Tribal Chief. Get ready for another T-shirt to go up the rankings. That's why, you know, I mean, it's brilliant marketing, and it's his time on top. And it's fun because being a heel, and even though it was like a vigilante tweener, a lot of people liked it because it was not boring Roman, you know, because that's what they used to think of him. He's got like, he's a baby face, but fans already liked him as a heel. But now it's, you don't have the people crapping on him. And the people that do, they're drowned out. Like, there's a few haters out there, they're drowned out quick. What's your thoughts here?
Just, I love the whole thing. Vinnie Mac finally got his way. He got the ultra Roman Reigns pop that he always wanted. He's not even part of the company anymore to enjoy it. That this is what he wanted all along. And yeah, I loved it. Like, as soon as he came out, I love how he like immediately went to Solo. It wasn't like but is he really gonna be after Solo, or is it for Cody? Like, what exactly? He came right in the ring and attacked Cody immediately, and I just can't wait. And you were just talking about Big G that we don't need to see him every week. We don't, but it's like, I hope they do like little things, like maybe Jimmy gets a phone call, and you know that's Roman trying to make amends and trying to recruit the Bloodline to get back together to go for War Games. So you can build it without physically having them on TV every day. But I can't wait to SmackDown. Like, this really amped me up to see SmackDown. It was like, once I saw that blue hit, I was like, oh shit. It is almost like everyone knew it was gonna happen, but it's like you don't know for 100%, 1,000% until it's actually happening in your face. And the fact that it actually happened, like you can see me on the stream, like I almost got out of my seat and everything. It was a beautiful thing. And the fact that he went right after Solo, and then that subtle nod to Cody, like we're not done either, but it's still, I'm focusing on this because, you know, technically he had the title for so long. Cody owes him a rematch, so we got to visit that again too. So there's so many different things that you can do. And then, like, imagine the pop when The Rock comes back, because you know The Rock is going to face him. It's going to be OTC versus, I don't know what The Rock's going to call himself, but it's going to be some editions like that, or maybe the real Tribal Chief or something. I don't know. So that's going to still come. And I just can't wait to see the receipt he gives Solo Friday.
All Rock needs to do is come back and beat Cody for that title. And of course, I win my bet against Mike, and everybody said that'll get the most heat. Look, it's funny because I wanted Rock and Roman at WrestleMania last year, and then, you know, they did the whole thing, and you get mad because you gotta wait, right? You want it right away when you know it's gonna happen, and they were gonna do that. And now I'm okay with this because look at how everything is changing. And now by the time we get that match, down the road, people will be in, like, there won't be the haters. They'll all be in it now, right? And if there are haters, they get drowned out, like I said before. All set, Walter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, son, go ahead. Roman Reigns.
All right, let's go back to SummerSlam 2004. That's way back. No, he was in high school. 2014. Let's go a little further back. Roman Reigns was just beginning his solo babyface run. Imagine somebody going like, oh, okay, they're going to try and push Roman as the top guy. I think I'll come back about 10 years, see how well he's doing. All right, it's SummerSlam 2024. Let's see. Oh, okay, that guy really made it over. And then we have to go like, no, between all that, it was very complicated. But, yeah, Roman Reigns, huge babyface reaction. Let me just say about the music first, too, because I've been listening to the covers of his WrestleMania theme song pretty much all the time. When I heard the first drum, I already popped because I knew who it was. I think the audience had to wait to see the head of the table appear in order for them to get all hyped up. But I say this is what they're doing. They're giving him that Stone Cold and Rock treatment. In '96, when Austin was heel, remember his thing was like dun 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 dun, and then when he became a babyface, it was dun 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 dun. Rock, he came out with the "Do you smell what the Rock is cooking?" And then after that, he went babyface, and it was "If you smell what the Rock is cooking." You know, it was much more upbeat, and that's exactly what we're getting. Roman Reigns now getting his heroic music. So that was really awesome. But yeah, when Roman came out, man, massive pop. That was awesome. I was getting hyped up, man, as he was walking slowly to the ring, and they were doing the whole the NWO with Hogan. Whose side is he on? Whose side is he on? And as soon as he ran in the ring and he hit Solo with that Superman punch, I got out of my seat. I was like, yeah, what you thought it was, Solo? What you thought it was? I was just getting hyped up because he was up here talking like, if Roman Reigns want to do something, he can come and do it. I'm like, yeah, he did. And man, the massive pop when Roman was just trash talking and stuff, I was getting even more hyped up. And man, I said this in my review, in my ranking, it felt like you could feel it in your soul. That was the loudest ovation of ooh, ah, ever. And that's one thing, whether fans disliked him or not, he always got over with the ooh, ah. But here, man, you could just feel every single person was in unison with that. And he nails Solo with that spear, fantastic. And going back to the storytelling, I love when he turned to Cody and Cody's shock, and Roman's looking at him, and he nods his head out of respect as if he's gained respect. And it's such powerful storytelling, because think about how powerful it is. For as much as the pride of the bloodline and his family means to Roman, he felt so disrespected by Solo, he essentially handed the victory over to Cody Rhodes, the man that took away him being champion for almost nearly 4 years. That is powerful, and I love the storytelling, but yet it's done in a way where it's like, listen, we ain't friends, but I respect you. And he let Cody get his moment. That was fantastic. And as we head to what's next, I'm looking forward to seeing how all this starts to come about, because we're starting to see Sami Zayn and Jey Uso end up basically coming together. So it's like, okay, they're already planting the seeds for them to come over to Roman. Roman's going to be in his redemption arc and everything. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they get to it. I can't wait to see what he's going to say against Solo. It's going to be a really true test for Solo's mic skills, because Roman Reigns has come so far on his mic skills. Like, I can imagine Roman, like, I'm telling you, I'm gonna pop it. Roman comes out and he's all like, he said, he up here trying to be the tribal chief. How you gonna be the tribal chief? By beating John Cena and losing every match all the way up until you get to SummerSlam. 8 months of lose. I'm like, oh, he got him there. I'm like, if they let Roman go on fire, I'm like, dang, he got you right there. So I can't wait to see what they're gonna say. And man, it's really cool. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, who arguably are the two biggest baby faces. It's cool to have two big mega baby faces right now, at least in WWE. I'm not sure as far as the mainstream goes, though. Roman might be getting there. He did a movie with Eddie Murphy, I think I heard. So yeah, it is fantastic.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, there we go. So it is amazing. It's cool. And as far as Roman becoming babyface, going back, I always mentioned that I liked Roman in 2014, going back to when the fans started saying, John Cena sucks. And he's like, when Roman Reigns is in the ring, you're damn right John Cena sucks. I was like, okay, this guy's got something. And I said it all the time, like, just let him be himself and let's see what the magic happens. But then, Vince kind of felt like he was trying to turn him into John Cena 2.0. And I always thought Roman Reigns was very talented. But I'm like, the way they're presenting him, that's not it. Let this guy be himself, whether he's a babyface or heel, let him be himself. And they finally did around 2020, and this whole run was amazing for him. And now look how much the fans respected him. I'm like, they had the blueprint right there with his cousin, The Rock, and they finally did it. So I'm looking forward. I think I said in the chat, who's ready for Roman Reigns as a babyface, but this time with the edge of his heel side. So man, a lot to look forward to, and I'm glad to see Roman before he hangs up now on the path to getting a big babyface run.
He's come a long way since suffering succotash.
Yeah.
The pandemic, because that really set it up perfectly the way it played out back in 2020. All right, Aaron, over to you.
Everything about this is just incredibly organic. Roman Reigns turned heel in 2020, and he had a great 3.5-year run as the top villain in wrestling, and now it's come full circle. He's back being good guy Roman, but like Son said, it's a different Roman now. He's a seasoned veteran. He's got that edge to him, and the crowds have been wanting this for a long time now. He is a massive top babyface. He's going to have this feud with the Bloodline, and at some point, we're getting that match with The Rock. And I'm so happy with how this is all playing out, because now when we finally get Roman Reigns versus The Rock, it would have been entertaining with Roman Reigns as a heel and The Rock as a babyface. But I like this other dynamic so much more with Rock as the heel. And I think it's going to work perfectly. I think the crowd will react accordingly. I think they're going to boo The Rock like crazy, and they will cheer Roman Reigns as the babyface. And then when they finally have the match, I believe Roman Reigns will win, and The Rock will acknowledge him as the tribal chief. And that will be an awesome moment when that finally happens. And this is just the beginning of it. It really is 9 innings, and we were like, what, the 5th inning with Roman Reigns?
Might be extra innings, because they were going to do the match this year.
Yeah.
So it's actually extra innings if you look at it. Aaron, let me ask you this, and it's early. Where do you, as everything sits right now, where do you think Heyman's always been known to pull swerves and turn heel. Where do you think Heyman sits with all of this?
I think he's got to be on Roman's side. I don't see the point in him turning. He's a Hall of Famer now. Let Paul Heyman be a babyface. He's been a heel for so many years. Let him be there with Roman. We got to have the OG bloodline for Survivor Series. We got to have Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Jimmy and Jey Uso, and the honorary Uso, Sami Zayn. We got to have that original group, but this time as faces against the heel bloodline. Walter?
If Paul shows up this Friday just to announce that, like I would get so much goosebumps. Like the pop that Paul is gonna get when he comes back is gonna be crazy, especially if he sticks with Roman. Like it's gonna be a weird dynamic to see. But people, as much as no matter how much of a heel Paul was, people love that guy. Like it was like it wasn't a love to hate either. Like you legit loved him because of everything it was. He deserves everybody respect. Everybody loves him secretly. So. Like I can't wait to see when he comes back and how they treat him.
Son?
Yeah, I was gonna say, remember WrestleMania 20 when we were all hyped for the Undertaker's return, but I think what put it over the top was when we heard that first, oh yes, like oh he's coming back with Paul Bear too. Just have the audience quiet and don't do anything for like 5 seconds, and you hear, ladies and gentlemen, the crowd is going to erupt, and then he comes out introducing Roman Reigns as only Paul Heyman can, and I agree, it's time for babyface Paul Heyman. Like let's give it some new dynamics here. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. We do have a couple super chats here. Psycho Jet Black says Roman Reigns is the OTC, the one tough cookie. I mean, there's definitely several phrases you can come up with for OTC. Virtue, when are you getting that shirt? Have you already ordered it?
No, not yet. But I mean,
I already did.
I get them as gifts. People get me them as gifts, so I'll just wait.
There you go. Maybe somebody watching this can buy you one. Maybe a couple people can, so you have them for different days of the week. You can just throw one shirt on and then throw the other one on the next day. But anyways, Psycho Jet Black sent in another $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho Jet Black, for the super chats. Much appreciated, as always. Says, imagine buying a Tonga Loa t-shirt. Virtue, would you buy a Tonga Loa t-shirt? No. That's a big no from Virtue.
Does he
Yeah,
even have
I mean,
one?
I would take
He doesn't
one if
have
he did,
merch, does he?
but I probably wouldn't buy one.
I don't even know if he has one, but yeah, he's not there yet. Maybe a Jacob Fatu shirt I would consider buying, but not a Tonga Loa shirt at this point. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat and said, "What are the worst SummerSlams ever?" 93 and 95 and 2007. Virtue?
95 is definitely one of them.
Yeah, that was Mabel versus Diesel as the main event. That was a pretty rough SummerSlam. Other than Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon in the ladder match, that was a pretty rough card. Son, do you have any?
Taker was what, 94? That was bad too.
Undertaker versus Undertaker, but
man. I've only seen, in terms of full cards, 96 till the current time of all SummerSlams, though I've heard 95, so whenever I can eventually go back and start watching some of those other older SummerSlams, I guess I'll see. I've heard a lot about 95, though, being not so good, though. Though I did love that ladder. I've seen the ladder match, though, with Razor and Shawn. I like that one. I'm actually probably one of the rare ones that like it even more than their WrestleMania 10 match.
So what's the worst one you've seen where when it was over, you're like, I just wasted my time with this show?
I'm gonna say, you know what? Because it probably took a big chunk of it. 2010 left me super disappointed. Like I think the show was pretty good, but once the way they did the whole Nexus thing, I was like, man, I'm like this was not it. And then we found out from Jericho and Edge what went on behind the scenes with Cena. And 10 years later, when a pandemic hit and all those stars that I was saying they should have put those guys over, a lot of them were retired. And it's like, man, had you actually built those guys up for the next decade, you know, look at where we probably would have been. But hey, things worked out because we got Roman Reigns, obviously, and a lot more chances taken. So yeah, but yeah, I would say 2010 probably left me the most disappointed.
That was the worst LA SummerSlam for sure. Big G, what's the worst SummerSlam you've ever seen?
Can't put him on the spot.
For me, I'm trying to think. Probably 2000. I'm gonna go with 2007. 2007 and 2009. I didn't really like 2009.
Yeah, that one was all right. That had CM Punk and Jeff Hardy. That was the best thing on the show. That had DX coming out versus Legacy. It had a couple moments, but it wasn't one of the better SummerSlams in my opinion. But yeah, 93 and 95 always stick out to me as far as the worst go. And then, yeah, 2007. I always say my favorite part of 2007 was William Regal dancing around backstage with Crime Time. Like, that was literally the best thing of the show. That tells you all you need to know about the rest of the card. Anyways, we're caught up on the Super Chats, Virtue. Great discussion tonight. 2025 is shaping up to be awesome. When we finally get The Rock versus Roman Reigns, I legitimately think it's going to be the biggest WWE match of all time. Have the most views, the most attention, and everything worked out so perfectly here because now, you know, The Rock and Roman Reigns didn't really have much buildup other than, you know, it's who's the real tribal chief. But now you got this storyline that's brewing with Solo and his bloodline, and if Roman Reigns takes them out and then The Rock shows up and says he was the one that orchestrated it, now you have a whole new layer of storytelling for this match. It's going to make Rock versus Reigns all that much better when it finally happens.
Just wait till Rock does show back up and he's in the position where he and the Bloodline are standing, the new Bloodline are standing over Roman, and he's declaring himself that he's going to get booed. That's one of the loudest boos of all time. And obviously, Rock is one of the most popular wrestlers of all time, but people love playing along with The Rock. Yes.
Do you guys think it'll be like Solo versus Roman in the Bloodline match, and that's when The Rock is the one that pops up? And
I don't know if it's going to happen that soon. See, what I think is going to happen is we're going to have Roman versus Solo pretty soon, either Bash at Berlin or the Bad Blood show, or maybe even Crown Jewel. Then we're going to have War Games, Survivor Series. Then somewhere around Royal Rumble, I think, is when The Rock's going to resurface.
Yeah, or maybe you can milk it a little and like make Roman have to go through the new people of Bloodline before he gets Solo. You get Solo at Rumble, And that's when The Rock, because then you have to start booking towards WrestleMania. That's when The Rock will come back.
And I don't think it's out of the possibility that if they do a Bloodline Survivor Series match, Rock shows up there because his history with Survivor Series, obviously on many occasions, that could be the big declaration night there. And then he could go away for a little bit, maybe challenge Cody at Royal Rumble. Who knows? But we're all watching to find out what's going to happen.
Yep. All right. We're caught up.
All right, go around and do your plugs. Last word, son. I'll start with you.
All right, so yes, check out my WrestleMania 40 match ranking. I ranked all 16 matches from least to best. Lots of effort put into that one. Took me about 3 months to finish editing. Shot it in my 4K Sony FX3 camera. Hundreds of images gathered to go along with what I'm narrating. So yeah, a lot of effort put into that. Definitely check it out. And then also I did my SummerSlam ranking video, and that one's in a different format. So I'm starting to get into streaming now, and as a result of that, I'm going to start streaming all my rankings now to get them out a lot more quicker. So not as fancy editing as the WrestleMania 41, but still I bring up the dynamic energy as I always do. So it's all available on demand at my YouTube channel, Son Goshoku, which you can also find me on all the other social media platforms like Twitter, X, Facebook, and Instagram. I will comment below and you can click on it from there. As always, gentlemen, it is a pleasure being on Talking Pro Wrestling with you all. By the way, I have been meaning to do this for a while. A couple of apologies for two things that I don't think I like, that I don't like that how I said it over the years on NoDQ. One, silly comment I once made, I think it was after SummerSlam 2019, where Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch came out, and one had blue hair, orange hair, and they both had, I think their hair was basically the complementary colors, and I was like, well, it's still SummerSlam to them. A stupid comment, and I apologize for that, because at the time they were both one of my favorite women wrestlers, and they still are two of my favorite women's wrestlers. And the second thing, also, I made what I felt like I came off very condescending like when talking about the Celebrity Wing Hall of Fame one time, where I had mentioned about Drew Carey, and I was like, well, if they want to put Drew Carey in the Hall of Fame, and yeah, look at that. I wanted to state that I don't have anything against Drew Carey. It's just, I think at the time I felt that there are a lot more bigger celebrities that have bigger impact in the wrestling business, but at the end of the day, I feel like, yeah, these are special moments for the talents involved, whether it's the celebrities or the wrestling. So we all grow up, and I just want to look back on that. I was kind of like, I'm like, I don't want to apologize for those for myself. That being said, anything that I've ever said, though, when it comes to WWE's writing, if it was inconsistent, I'm keeping all of that, because yes, we as fans, I think we have any place for writing that insults our intelligence and stuff, which I'm glad that there are better times now. That being said, I want to just say those things, but always a pleasure being on here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm never going to go back and do what you just did.
You're
With my
right.
predictions, then, now, together, forever. All right, Walter, go.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me as always. In terms of the socials, you can follow me on X at Walter Alex Cruz. Of course, the at Rage of Wrestling YouTube channel, and the Instagram at Fire Farms. So thank you guys for having me. I'm here. It's always good to be here.
All right, Walter. Thank you. All right, Big G.
Yes, if you love cats or you're a cat person, go to my YouTube channel, Harley and Joker 2021. I got some cool cat videos up there. X, NoDQ _ Big Baller G, TikTok, Big Baller G 1988, and on Insta, NoDQ _ Big Baller G 1988.
Thank you. And Aaron.
All right, we do have a super chat here from Michael. Thank you, Michael. Says, do you think The Rock faces Cody for the titles at the Royal Rumble? I mean, Virtue, what do they do here? Because they definitely tease The Rock versus Cody, but you have to do Rock versus Roman Reigns, and I feel like that's got to be at WrestleMania, right? So when does Rock versus Cody take place? Rumble?
Royal Rumble's a really good possibility. Where's Elimination Chamber next year? Is it anywhere big city or anything?
I don't think announced it yet.
Yeah, I don't think they
But
confirmed it.
again, and then it could be the night 1, night 2 thing. It can go that far. So there are really good possibilities. So
I mean, Cody proved he can go 2 nights. So
yeah, we'll see what they come up with. But regardless, 2025 is going to be a hot year. And I think we're going to get Rock versus Cody and Rock versus Roman Reigns at some point. And heel Rock is just awesome. So glad we have it. But what's great about WWE right now is they got a lot of hot acts. Like the company is on an absolute roll right now. And looking forward to next No DQ review. I believe we're back on Sundays, at least for a couple weeks.
And we're going to be able to talk about whatever happens on SmackDown. So
yeah.
Yep. And Dynamite, maybe.
Yeah. All right. So we're good for tonight.
All right. X.com if you dare at NoDQ_virtue. There you go. Sorry for the connection problems, but we still got through it because we had tornado warnings before we went on the air and I lost all my power, but no big damage, at least, other than a couple boards.
Hey, props to you, Virtue. That shows your dedication to this show.
Yeah,
so
we still did a couple cutouts early on, but we figured it out. But thank you for Big G, for Walter, for Son, Aaron, and the whole No DQ crew and Galaxy. This has been the No DQ Review 296. We're getting close to 300. We'll see you Sunday night.
Adios.